In this video, I will be showing how to use the chain rule, which is one form of differentiation. So we will use the chain rule when we have a composite function. So here we have f of g of x and we want to find the derivative. So first off, we're going to do the derivative of the outer function evaluated at the inner and then multiplied by the derivative of the inner function. And this can occur multiple times. Within a derivative, there can be multiple inner functions. The main thing is to differentiate the outer function first, keep the inside the same, and then multiply by the derivative of the inner function and do that over and over again. For the first example, we have y equals secant squared x plus tangent squared x, and we want to find y prime. My first step is to rewrite this formula as y equals secant x with the squared on the outside, and then the same for our tangent x squared. And now this will allow us to see more clearly what our outer function is. So now we can see that our outer function is going to be our squared term. So first we're going to apply the power rule. And then we will multiply by the derivative of the inner function, which will be our trig terms. So I have y prime equals 2 times secant x to the 2 minus 1, and I'll multiply by the derivative of secant x, which is secant x tangent x. And now plus tangent x plus 2 times tangent x to the 2 minus 1 times secant squared x, which is the derivative of the inner function tan x. And now we get that y prime equals 2 times secant x times secant x tangent x plus 2 times tangent x times secant squared x. And simplifying this, we get 2 times secant squared x times tangent x plus 2 times tangent x times secant squared x. And finally, we can just add those two terms. So we'll get y prime equals 4 times secant squared x times tangent x. And now for the second example, this will be one where we are going to apply the chain rule more than once because there are multiple inner functions. Once again, I'm going to start by rewriting this with the power on the outside of everything. So I have y equals cosine of sine cubed x all to the power of 4. So once again, now I can see that my outer function is going to be 4. So I know to apply the power rule first. So now I get y prime equals 4 times, in parentheses, cosine of sine cubed x to the 4 minus 1. And now I'm going to multiply by the derivative of the inner function, which is going to be negative sine of sine cubed x. So we start from the very outside and move our way in. So the next most inner function was our cosine of sine cubed x. And now our next inner function is going to be sine cubed x, so we need to find the derivative of that. And the derivative of that is going to be 3 times sine squared x, because we'll be applying the power rule to it. And then finally, we want the derivative of our sine x term, which will be cosine x. And now I'm going to simplify this by multiplying by the negative and the 4 times 3 and rewriting this so it looks in a simplified term. So we have y prime equals negative 12 times cosine cubed of sine cubed x times sine of sine cubed x times sine squared x times cosine x. And this will be your final answer.